Good morning. Cheryl Morales Neribe. My name is Cheryl Morales. Garifuna Nugia. Patantenalao. I am Garifuna and I am proud. Okay, so I heard that you all were interested in hearing about the Garifuna. Is that true? Yes! Yes! Okay, so I am like so stoked and so happy to tell you about me, my people, my Garifuna heritage. I'm so proud to be Garifuna. So I'm gonna start with a little history and then we're gonna do a little show and tell. I'm gonna show you some of these beautiful artifacts from my culture and let you know what it is and what they're used for. But I'm gonna tell you again a little bit about my history. So Garifuna people are indigenous to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That is in the Lesser Antilles. So our homeland is called Yurume in our native language, land of the blessed. Our native word for our land. Right now, today is called St. Vincent, and St. Vincent has been inhabited for some 7,000 years by the Siboneyes, Arawak, and Kalinagu. When Columbus stumbled across St. Vincent in January 1498, the island had been inhabited nearly 200 years by Kalinagu Garifuna. The Europeans were called planters, who would later arrive to St. Vincent, referred to as Carib Indians. The Caribbean Sea is named after the Caribs, which is my people, Garifuna, to mark the nearly 500 miles of Carib territories from Grenada, Tobago, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua, St. Christopher, St. Kitts, Trinidad, and Barbados are Arawak territories. The Arawak and Kalinagu were the native inhabitants of St. Vincent at the time when the Malayan African explorers began to arrive. King Abubakar II abdicated the throne of Mali and set sail to the to the U.S. with 2,000 ships in 1300. The Kalinagu, as they did with the Arawak, intermarried with the Malayan Africans, which gave birth to the Garifuna people. The Garifuna people are indigenous to the American continent. The planters would later seek to divide and conquer the indigenous people by labeling us as black Caribs, those with darker skin, yellow Caribs, those with fair skin, and red Caribs, those who did not have any African features. Also, to claim our indigenous land, the planters petitioned a false report claiming that black Caribs were escaped captured Africans from a shipwreck. Unbeknown to the indigenous population of St. Vincent, their homeland had been granted by King Charles II of England to Earl Carlisle in 1627, together with all of the Caribs of the island. A little backstory. So when you leave the African continent, two currents that originate from the African continent, they usually automatically land over here in the Americas. So when Abubakar abdicated his throne, he took 2,000 ships, 1,000 ships with men and 1,000 ships with supplies and foods and water. He made two voyages, one in 1310 and another voyage in 1311. The indigenous people fought the planters for nearly 150 years. Throughout that time, many peace treaties were signed, including a peace treaty signed on March 31st, 1660, between the Carib chiefs, the French, and the English to recognize St. Vincent and Dominica as Garifuna land. There was the Anglo-Carib Peace Treaty of 1773, but like other treaties, they were not abided by. The two major wars were called the First Carib War and the Second Carib War, which started in 1795 and lasted for 2 years. The Garifuna people were defeated in 1797. They were charged with treason against the British Empire, placed on an island prison called Belize, without food, where half of our population died. Later, they were exiled. The Garifuna people arrived to Port Royal off the coast of Roatan, Honduras on April 12, 1797. We have been living in exile for over 226 years throughout Central America, and now in the United States. The Garifuna people primarily lived in Honduras for 30 years, secluded, prior to venturing off to surrounding countries. According to our oral history, the first attempt for our Garifuna people to leave Honduras was in search of returning home to Mirman. but because they were not familiar with the seas in that area in Central America, they got lost, they got turned around, and ended up in Nicaragua. Later on, the Garifuna people arrived to Guatemala in 1802. After that, they arrived to Belize in 1804, and then a big exodus in 1832 brought more Garifuna people into Belize. In 1950s, the Garifuna people started to arrive to the United States, working with the United Fruit Company as merchant marines. They settled in New Orleans and made their way to New York, California, and later on in other states. There's an estimated 300,000 Garifuna people worldwide. Here in California, we have the second largest population of Garifuna people outside of Central America. New York has the largest population of Garifuna people in the United States. Here in California, we have a large population of Garifuna people from Belize, followed by Honduras and Guatemala. In New York, they have the largest population of Garifuna people from Honduras and Guatemala. In 2001, UNESCO proclaimed the Garifuna heritage and culture a masterpiece of intangible heritage of humanity. On November 14, 2014, the city of Los Angeles adopted a resolution declaring November Garifuna Heritage Month. Over here, we have what we call an agi. An agi is a grater. So what we do is we take our food and we grate the food on this. You can see that. Over here we call a hibisi. This is a strainer. We strain our food with this, get all the particles out. Aruguma. This is not an actual size. The actual size is probably taller than my husband here. And we use this as a strainer. So we strain out, we put the cassava in here to strain out the poison so we could utilize it to make cassava bread and other delicious food, which is the staple food of Garifuna people. Rita, this is what we use to eat our food. We have different sizes. This is what we use as our bowls to eat our food. Smaller ones are what we use to drink. This is our boat. Traditionally, we would take a big tree and we would carve it out and make it into a boat. And the boat would be big enough for up to 50 to 100 men to ride in. This is called sisira, or maracas, or chacas. This is one of the instruments that we use in our music. This is called a ground. Of course, it's a miniature. Those are the actual grounds that our musicians use. This is a miniature sample of it. This we call a hana. We pound our food in there. This is, of course, a miniature. The original one is usually about my height. And we use it to prepare our food. We use it to mix medicine and all kind of stuff. So this is pretty much in every Garifuna household. This is another one of our instruments. We use nature as our instrument. This is a turtle shell. We use it to do different, I don't know how to play it. I'm just making noise right now, but those who know how to play it actually know how to do a good job with it. A traditional Garifuna music ensemble typically consists of gayusa, which are singers, primera and segundo drums, sisira, the chacas, and sometimes a turtle shell, and also a dabugate. This is a conch shell. And this is also one of the instruments that we used to communicate. Back in the days, we would communicate to other ships. We would communicate different sounds to tell people the weather was not good to venture out. We would communicate during wars using the wadabugate. So this is one of our instruments for music right now, and also one of the instruments we used to communicate back in the days. Important to us is preserving the Garifuna language, and one of the ways that we did it was many years ago, over 30, 40 years ago, they translated the Bible into Garifuna. So this Bible here is translated all in Garifuna words. And we use it as an educational tool so we could preserve and continue to teach the language to our children, to the next generation around the world. Oh, who wants to learn a little bit of Garifuna? Okay. Let's start with the alphabet. Who want to learn the alphabet? If you can see, on top, we have the Garifuna alphabet. We have the Garifuna weeks. We have the Garifuna months. And we have the Garifuna numbers. So we are going to start with the letters. Let's say Garunati.
Garunati.
That's A in Garifuna. Ba.
Ba.
That's B in Garifuna. Sha.
Sha.
See? Da. Gayumati. Fa. Ga. Ha. Gariti, Ka,
Ka.
La,
La.
Ma, Na, Nya, Garati, Pa,
Pa.
Ra,
Wa.
Sa,
Sa.
Ta, Maguti,
Magati.
Gaguti,
Gabuti.
Wa,
Wa.
Ya. All righty, you guys all learned Garifuna today. Give yourself a hand. Woo! So now we're going to transition and we're going to demonstrate a little bit of our Garifuna culture with the drumming ensemble. They're going to just do a little bit of hugu, which is our traditional song that we use like during ceremonial presentation. So we're gonna also do punta and we're gonna do paranda, you know. So let's go ahead and listen a little bit from our musicians.
So let's hear a little bit of punta music. You guys wanna see how it dance? We're gonna ask Miss Cheryl Morales to come and dance punta. Let's give her a round of applause. Come on.
Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to take off my shoes because punta is traditionally danced barefoot. And the reason we call it punta is because your body moves the direction your feet is pointed. So a little bit of punta.
Nice, thank you. Inyo. We want to thank Glenn Garcia, Tai Tai, and of course the young drummer here, and of course Ms. Cheryl Morales for a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Ayo.